everyone, welcome back to the Plunder Den. In this week's episode, we're going to do a painting tutorial of that stone bridge we built in our last episode. So let's take a look. This is the finished product. So I spent a lot of time going to a high level of detail in weathering this bridge and weathering my stones and adding plant life to the roadway here. And really, I got my inspiration from the old stone bridges and from England and Scotland. And really, that was my inspiration for this design. Now, of course, I plan on using this bridge for Blood and Plunder. And I'll probably get a lot of use of it in Blood and Valor. But maybe even Bolt Action in the future and definitely Warhammer and other games. So a good stone bridge is a good piece of terrain to have for any tabletop. So if you guys like what we're doing here in the Plunder Den, make sure you smash that like button and consider subscribing to the Plunder Den and get first-hand information on when I start these kind of projects. So let's get down to the table and let's get painting. Okay, so this is usually how I start most of my terrain with the black multi-surface folk art paint. So you might not be able to see it, but I've painted all the bottom of this terrain first black, and now I'm doing the top. And the reason why I do that is it will warp the dollar store foam board and the insulation foam, so you need to counteract that. So paint the bottom first and then paint the top. Alright, so this is it all completed. We just went fast forwarded right to getting it all done. This took actually a couple of days because I let it dry and then I went back and painted it again, got any spots that I missed. And the reason why, just going back to warping, is that craft paint does shrink and tighten up. So it will shrink the paint and shrink the piece you're in. So now we're moving to that real brown. The color I always go to for my terrain. I got my trusty paper towel piece and dump a bunch on a plate. And I just get lots on my brush. Just enough to get it all soaked in. And then, of course, I dab it into the paper towel so it's not, I don't paint a big blob of brown paint. Essentially, I'm dry brushing it on. And that's why I dab it out into the paper towel. So I'm going to try to show you in the screen here. It's a little hard because this bridge is so huge. But I just try to get a little bit in the camera here so you guys can see the technique that I've used. If you've been following me for some time, you've probably gotten familiar with what I do when I do terrain or my ships. I pretty well dry brush the same way with this large brush. And put it on that way. So I'm just going to go around the whole piece like that and get every little spot and add that real brown to it. Right now we're just building up layers of undertone for our stone. Just showing you that I went into the bridge top and I kind of wanted to make it a little more brown in the center. So I left the edges more dark and black and I've kind of just really lightened the center. And I'm going to kind of do that with all the browns. And we're going to kind of build some layers again on the roadway too. So I'm just showing you as I completed everything. I've covered it with as much as I want with that real brown. And then I'm going to move into the lighter brown. But I just wanted to give you a good look at everything as best as I can. As I said, the camera's really small here. So now I'm going to move to the bark brown. Again, the same color I always use. And we are going to dry brush the whole thing as well. And I'm going to re-emphasize that center of the bridge again with making it lighter tones in there. I'm just going to kind of do that as I go through all the colors. Again, if you've been watching my videos, you're familiar with these processes. But if you're new to my channel, this will be all new techniques for you. I do like to use craft paint to do as a primer on all my pieces, and I put layers of craft paint. Now, this is multi-surface craft paint, so it's good for all sorts of different types of surfaces. Sticks on real good. It's great for a primer. The great thing is you don't have to add any other materials to this. It'll harden and protect your foam. So I know some people have used Mod Podge and other stuff, and it works excellent too. But I like to just use the craft paint, and it works sufficiently. It gives you enough strength. So just showing you, I'm hitting all those different areas, hitting the drywall compound that we put on the bottom, making that textured ground. And I'm just kind of going over all the places that I hit with that bark brown. You can see it lightened it up. And again, we're just building up layers onto our stones. So now we're going to go to the Pablo that I use. And this is kind of an orangey brown. Again, we're going to add this to the entire piece as well, and lightening in the center as well. Now, the Pablo, I will hit a few different areas where I will actually put quite a bit of orange paint on it. And the reason why I'm doing that is, just to highlight certain stones and give it a multicolored look. So you'll have some stones with a little more orange in it, a little more brown as we go into the khaki colors, and just really giving it assorted colors all over the stone. And I've mentioned this before in previous builds. That really gives that authentic, real stone look. Stones are many colors, and we want to capture that in here, and not necessarily color one whole stone one color, but just add maybe this one has a little bit more orange in it, maybe this one has a little more brown in it. You're just kind of just randomly placing it on there. So I'm just showing you what I mean by that. I'm just kind of darkening it in certain areas with that orange. And remember, these are just undertones, so it's not going to finish off with huge orange blocks on it. We're just building layers of color on top of each other. And that really gives it a really good stone look to it. So again, fast forward it, just showing you the finished results here with the Pablo on top. Just kind of highlighted the raised areas, really hit the middle of that bridge again. I feel it'll be a little bit more worn in the center of the bridge and darken as it goes out to the edges. Right, so then we're going to go to our camel. Remember, these are all folk art multi-surface craft paints, and we're just building layers of craft paint on top of each other. And then we're going to move to the Army Painter dry brush that I like to use. This is the largest one that I have, and there's all sorts of other variations. You can use makeup brushes. You can use all sorts of stuff for dry brushes. But for the big, large colors, I use those big brushes, and then as I move into finer details, I start moving into these smaller dry brushes by Army Painter. So again, similar to the orange, I'm just going to hit different areas and add a lot of khaki to certain sort of camel. It's like a khaki color. And just adding it on here. And just showing you some areas will be stronger with it and some areas will be lighter. It's just all random. Just randomly put it on there. And I'm going to do the whole piece. You can see I'm doing circular motions and just trying to capture some of the raised areas. So I'm going to go through that middle of the bridge and as well hit it with that khaki as well. I keep calling it khaki. It's camel. All right, so that's the finish. You can start seeing we're getting a nice stone look to it already. And it really, if you wanted to, you could leave it this way. I like taking it further. But it really actually has a pretty good stone look right now. It's more of a browny kind of stone color, but I'm going to go to a lighter stone color, but I really like that. So now we're going to go to more of the miniature paints and Army Painter brand, and we're going to go to this desert yellow. And we're going to add this color in there too, so we're going to have a little bit of yellows in our stones as well. Again, just building up more layers and adding more interest to these stones. Now, I'm not going to bring these colors down into, you can see that mudded area on the bottom where I put that drywall compound. That is going to be more covered with flocking and other stones and other things that we're going to add to the plant life. We want to leave that more of a ground color, so I'm going to leave it that brown. So all these colors I'm not going to add to that ground. I'm just going to add these colors to the stones. So again, randomly, just hitting spots, darkening it in certain areas. All right, so just giving you kind of an overview. As you can see, we've got a little bit of yellow everywhere. Picked out different stones to highlight it more in. Just really went through the whole piece. Added some to the roadway. And just kind of distributed it everywhere. So now I'm going to go to an even lighter color called Skeleton Bone by Army Painter. I'm going to continue doing the brush. You probably notice I haven't cleaned my brush out. I don't usually when I'm doing stonework like this. The only time I switched to when I switched to the Army Painter brush, like my original colors, I did it all with the same brush. Didn't wash it out in between. I like the mixtures of the colors together on my brush as well. So the same thing goes with the smaller brush. I'm not rinsing it out in between. And I'm not letting it dry either. I'm just continuing to put paint over top of each other. So you can rapidly get through this process. Once you get started, I like to set myself enough time to make sure that I'm able to complete the whole project because I like to do it all at once. The only stage I really wait for is when I put the original matte black down. I mean, the black multi-surface paint there, and let that dry over a couple days. And then once I have it, I call it my blank slate, then I just go in one continuous motion and paint it all. So trying to get into all the different areas in here. Same thing, just adding lighter colors to certain areas. We're going to hit the middle of the road again, continuing to lightening it up. But we're building more colors. So you can see we're starting to get into a lighter stone color. But we still have all those interesting looking colors in there. And really, it's all about layers. Building up the layers on your stones. So just giving you a good look of what where I've covered everything and what it looks like. So now we're going to this, I always mess it up. It's a necrotic flesh. It's kind of like something you would put on a zombie or a mummy, but it's got kind of a greenish color, and I like to use the greenish color because it implies that maybe there's some plant life in there, and you're adding a little algae or green to the stones. But it's a lighter color, so it makes it look more like a lighter stone, which which I'm trying to do here, as I'm trying to lighten this up, but still manage to keep some of my undertones in there, and really, again, building up layers. And this is the same process with all the colors. I just hit certain areas, darken it, lighten it in certain areas. And I really put a lot in these front two posts, the two stone posts that are on both sides of the bridge. I did actually lighten those up quite a bit. I do plan on putting a lot of matte black over a lot of this stuff to give it a really rustic look. But we're going to lay in these colors in first before we do that. So then before I go into my next stone color, I am going to go to an army green. So this is kind of a really good color that I use for a lot of different things in my paint work. And I really like to use it as an undertone for kind of like a growth of grass or algae and stuff along the bottom of the bridge. I do the same thing for my buildings and docks. I like to add this and then put there's an army wash over top. It's called a military shader, which we'll go over when we cover the washes. But it really, the combination together looks really good. It gives it a good like a plant life growth on the bottom. So you can see I even put some up in the stones up higher. I'm just showing you I plan on hitting all the bottom areas. I'm going to add a little bit to that soil area and on the stones just to imply. So here we go. Just kind of showing you. I even put some on the top of the roadway. So we got kind of we're not going to leave it that way. It's kind of like a pasty green right now, but once we add the washes and the black and other stuff, it'll really make sense, but it just doesn't right now. But you got to put the undertones. So now we're going to go to Mummy Robe. This is probably the lightest color that I'm going to put on there. So it's not quite a white. I really, when I do my stonework, I really try to stay away from grays, whites. I try to have all these lighter shades of beige and browns, and I really like the way that looks as a stone effect. So this is going to be my lightest color I put over top, and I'm really going to highlight it now with this mummy robe. But mummy robes, if you saw the bottle there, it's a little bit pinky, kind of a little bit of pink, so it's got a bit of a brown in it. So it's not completely white, it's an off-white. So I prefer that to add. It goes really well with the other colors that are on there. So I'm just showing you I hit a whole bunch of different areas. So now we're going to go to that matte black. So Army Painter's matte black is fantastic. It's very matte. Some matte blacks are still got a bit of a sheen to it, but this one is really flat. So we want to add black weathering, like it's got dead growth or whatever on this bridge. If you look at old stone bridges, there's a lot of black dead growth growing on top of it or underneath some of the stones. And I'm going to try to capture that with this matte black. And that's why I wanted to use a matte one. I don't want it to be shiny like it's wet or anything like that. I just want it to look like it's, even if it's like burnt in some areas, and some areas there's dead growth, and just really adding a lot of black to it. So I'm going to show you just kind of going to the tops of all those 4 poles, and then kind of underneath all the stones. And I just hit all the different areas with that black. So now I'm moving to that military shader I was talking about, the first of the washes that I'm going to use. I'm going to use a strong tone wash, and then I use some more matte black. I'm showing you I'm using that as well again. And then some more dark tone. So these are all the different shades that I plan on putting along the bottom. You can see that black that I put on has really made it look rustic on that bridge, and that's really the look I was going for. I am planning on adding some more to the top of the bridge as well. But right now I'm going to add, I like it a little bit wetter on the bottom because this is near the water, right? So the bottom of the bridge would be a little bit wetter. And this is usually where I concentrate my washes. I will put some on the inside of the bridge on the very edges and against the walls where maybe some liquid would have accumulated. All right, so now I've done all the washes, I've done all the black work, and we've pretty well completed everything we need. You can see I put some black on the top of the roadway, and I went back and added some more mummy robe to the center of that bridge. So now we're going to start adding some plant life, some stones, some rocks. I usually get just a crappy old brush, piece of a dollar store foam board. I squeeze that tacky glue on there, and I start with this battlefield ground. I do a lot of my terrain with this battleground first. So kind of a layer of stones and this smaller stones that are in this battleground. And I'm going to put that on there first. And then I'm going to add these 2 steppe grass and grass green. I like to mix them together, actually. I like the combination of those 2 mixed together. Some areas where I want to highlight it a little more greener, I might just go with the grass green. But then I add that other steppe grass. And then I always use that yellow tall grass. I usually cut that and make small little tufts or bushes in there. And then, of course, I got my assortment of Army Painter tufts that I use as well. And we're really going to add a lot of plant life. But we're going to start with the stones and that battleground gravel first. And you can see I've just hit certain areas. Closest to the bridge, I'm actually going to add the plant life. So now I've added the stones next. These, make a note, I didn't actually use that white glue for that. I added super glue, the Gorilla white glue to, Gorilla clear glue to glue those on first. Then I'm just showing you all the different flocking. So I mixed the 2 together. I showed you the 2 different colors separated, and then I mixed them together. And that I do use white glue, that tacky glue, and put it on. I used some super glue and glued a few bushes on. You can see that there's stonework in there. There's gravel. Yeah, I'm just showing you. That's the glue I use. And then I've added flocking up on the bottom of it. And now the last step is adding some random tufts. So I just add tufts all over the place. And I got different ones. I got the swamp tuft and different other plant life I've added on there. All right, so this is the finished product. We're going to kind of set up the battle map here. I have some pirates raiding French, like a farmstead, but has a stone tower kind of fortress. And of course the bridge leads the way to the stone fortress. So we're just going to kind of take a look at this entire battle map and show you the completed bridge. So it has all the plant life added, all the weathering, and we'll call this bridge done. Really looking forward to using it in some battle matches. I know I just have it set up here just for you guys to see it all put together. But I can't wait to use it in Blood and Plunder, and also, like I said, mentioned before, in Blood and Valor, and in future games, maybe doing some Warhammer on it, and Bolt Action and other games. But I just wanted to show you overall what it looks like on the map in a battle situation. Right, just taking another close-up of the battle map, showing you the docks. I got 2 pirate ships actually. I forgot the pirate bark over here. I'm just showing you the whole battle map. All right, if you guys like what we're doing here in the Plunder Den, make sure you smash that like button and consider subscribing to the Plunder Den and get first-hand information on when I start these projects. All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching.